Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report. Today we're playing 1500 points of Dark Olympiad versus 1500 points of Orkz. I am playing MiniWargamer J. I'm here in Peterborough, Ontario, and we're having an inter-channel battle report, so stay tuned for the fun action that's about to happen. Okay, so the mission is Maelstrom mission number something or other. Number 3. We're going to be drawing tactical objective cards as per the objectives that we hold as the game continues. So I've deployed like this across the board. Jay won the turn, run the roll to deploy first, and then chose to go second in order to force the Dark Eldar hand, since I deployed mostly out of range. My psychic powers are Guide, Doom, Fortune, and Death mission on my Farseer, and in reserve I've kept my Razorwing, my Eldar jet bikes, and my Hellions are deep striking. The Orkz have brought a lot of armor, so let's see how we will deal with this. Of course, I will talk about this in the tactical corner at the end of the battle report. The Dark Eldar surged forth. We had the Witch and Succubus units use their enhanced sails and boost all the way up to the far flank of the Ork Horde line. We had 2 Venoms move up and put pressure on the Ork Horde, while the Reaver jet bikes have sacrificed themselves dearly to blade vein 3 models out of that unit and prevent the Ork Horde from falling on the flanking force. Meanwhile, the Farseer has moved up with the Beast Pack and Fortune the Beast Pack, making them very hard to take down, while the Ravager has knocked out a Killer Can in order to achieve a tactical objective. Both units of Cabalite Warriors cheer on with pompons. Yay! So at the end of the turn, we have achieved Big Game Hunter, which is destroy a vehicle, which was the Killer Can. I'm just going to keep that one. I'm going to take rid of that, and I'll talk about it as to why after the game in the tactical call. We had the Ork Horde advance and fire into the Ravager and the Chimera to almost no effect, killing 1 Chimera, doing nothing to the Ravager. In combat, the War Boss and the Mech have split up from the main attack to target the Reaver jet bikes, and score first blood for killing them as well, losing a few of their number in return. At the end of the turn, we have the Orks capturing Objective 6, capturing Objective 1, and First Blood for 3 points to the Orks, followed by 1 point to the Dark Eldar. We're moving on to Dark Eldar. Turn 2, and we have reserves to show up. So, we have the Eldar jet bikes. They arrive. We have the Razorwing jet fighter. It arrives. And we have the Hellions. They arrive. The reserves have come in full force. The Hellions, the Eldar jet bikes, and the Razorwing all showed up from reserve. The Hellions bang on target, combined with the Succubus's Witches. Focused fire on the Warboss Mech and his unit with both Venoms in tow, bringing them down to 3 models. Charging in, the Succubus alone slaughtered the remaining models in that combat. The Beast Pack moved into the middle to secure Objective 3, while the Farseer failed all attempts to cast powers, failing to harness any of the warp whatsoever. The Razorwing blasting into the unit of Orkz in the backfield, killing the Knob and another 8 models from the unit. The Mech being unscathed thanks to Lookout Sir rolls. All Lances fired into the Death Dread that passed all invulnerable saves needed to make and was unscathed as well, while the other models have moved up. So, at the end of the turn, I have captured Objective 3 and secured Slay the Warlord. The score is now 3 to the Dark Eldar and 3 to the Ork. The Morkanaut and the Cans and the Death Dread and the remnants of the Ork Boy squad have moved up to try and push onto Objective 5 that was scored by the Orks at the end of the turn. Firing into the Razorwing was ineffective, and firing from the Morkanaut into the Ravager forced it into jinking, and it passed its jink save. So it's not damaged. So now moving on to Dark Eldar. Turn 3. Let the gauntlet be closed. We had the Hellions, Witches, and Raider move up. I failed a charge here. Shooting from both Venoms took out the Orc unit that was with the mech. The mech fell back from his target as the Venom shifted. The Witches were in this Raider. Jumped out, tried to target the Morkanaut. That killed 5 of them in Overwatch. And they put 1 hull point on with Haywire grenades, but 1 died, stomped to death by the Morkanaut. And they are is still in combat. The Beast Pack charged into the Dreadnought, the Death Dread, and did nothing, but lost a Chimera even with Fortune, while the objective secured jet bikes have stolen Objective 5 from the Orkz. The Razorwing is technically right there in front of there. And other than that, I moved up a little bit. I've gotten 4 more points this turn. I got behind enemy lines for 1 point of Overwhelming Firepower, Harness the Warp, and Secure Objective 5, bringing the total to 7, thanks to Warlord, to 4. For the Dark Eldar are now back in the lead. We'll be back after this. The Morkanaut stomped on the 2 Witches, repaired a hull point, and moved on to Objective 3. The Death Dread did not do anything, but took a hull point as the Farseer armor-baned hull point off him. The Cans charged in and murdered the Eldar jet bikes that had stolen Objective 5 from them, only to consolidate within the protective field of the custom force field on the Morkanaut. Look at that. It looks awesome. The Orcs busted forth from cover, charged into a Witches, did something like 18 wounds, and killed 5 Witches. Because the Witches dodged and felt no pain at all from anything. While the last remaining mech rallied, looking at the devastation that is wrought around him. I had everything move up. The Morkanaut was destroyed for a single penetrating hit from the Ravager. Blew him sky high, killing a bunch of the beasts and almost hurting the Venoms. I boosted up this Venom to objective secure that objective. The Death Dread finally killed and was, chased down the Farseer, who's running away. The Hellions bailed the Succubus out of combat from the other Orcs, killing all of them with the knob, and the mech stayed alive from a lot of shooting. So at the end of my turn 4, I have scored another 8 points for a 4-point domination for controlling every objective, for 2 secure objective 6s, for a destroying an enemy unit with no prisoners, and for securing objective 1, bringing the total to about 15 to 4 points, at which point we have decided to call the game with the Dark Eldar victorious. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner and the breakdown with Jay. Okay, so that is the end of the game, and Dark Eldar victory with quite a resounding victory, but it wasn't so until right at the end there. Jay, any last comments?
No, Dark Eldar, they're awesome. I've seen Dark Eldar. I don't get to play against Dark Eldar very often, and you were just so fast, it blew my brain. That you moved with so quick speed, you closed the gap turn 1, and so the rest of my turn was just moving towards you, and in the end, I think my farthest line only moved up 12 inches the entire game.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. The enhanced sails moving 24 inches pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, more than that, just all the way up, and then having the Reaver jet bikes act as a buffer to prevent the Orcs from getting to the line, and then baiting them in. So we'll talk about that in Tactical Corner. Yeah. So, Jay, you have a YouTube channel, right?
I do. It is MiniWargamer Jay.
MiniWargamer Jay. Yes. The link will be down in the description below, so make sure you check that out. We've been doing just a little collaborative battle report, so also go watch Jay's version of the battle on his channel by clicking on the link down below in the description. And you did some work with MiniWargaming, right?
I did. I worked with MiniWargaming for a couple of years.
For a couple of years, eh? 2.5 years. Yeah. And in that time, you did a lot of battle reports mainly.
Yes. About 145 battle reports, I think.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this is only the 3rd battle report I've ever filmed against Dark Eldar.
Oh, wow. Well, that's because Dark Eldar are quite uncommon.
Yes.
And it was really fun. I really enjoyed playing against the Orcs. They were all well painted, and the list was really fun. And this was, of course, a path of the Dark Olympiad. So make sure you check out Jay's channel, and thanks a lot for watching. Of course, this is Skari, your grateful host. Check out the YouTube channel, all that stuff, and comment. Let us know what you think. We'd appreciate your feedback, and let us know if you'd like to see something different next time. Cheers, and this is Skari. Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. Let's start with the Dark Olympian. This is about the 10th or 11th game I've played with this list. 1,500 points, it's pretty solid. I'll link down below. Now, I was going to talk about how I wanted to deal with the army. I've never faced a Morkanaut before, and seeing it on the table was quite nerve-wracking. But I did notice a few key things. 1, lack of mobility, and 2, lack of long-range firepower. Now, Jay decided to deploy first. He deployed his entire army on one flank, ready to just rush up down this big open area of the table. And my deployment countered his deployment. I stayed out of range, and I spread out across the table. This is my turn 1, and as you can see, my flanking force, 2 raiders with sails and 2 venoms, pushed up the flank with the Reaver jet bikes, really putting themselves in the way of danger and blocking off any orc forces from advancing into my witches that were flanking to protect them. I knew I was going to give them away. I knew it would probably give me first blood. But that's exactly what happened. Jay moved his warlord, his mech, and a whole unit of boys to deal with the 1 Reaver jet bike unit. And after that, they did take the objective that was nearby that they had to take, but it left them vulnerable to quite a substantial force that I had brought up the flank very, very quickly, while the rest of my army that had stayed back physically just baited him down into coming towards them to be able to take advantage of the sweeping flank. That meant that once my Reaver jet bikes had died, it really was up to the succubus and the other unit of witches to mop up that unit of orcs and then to move into the backfield and really start causing some havoc. Now, on the first turn, I also said I'd talk about getting rid of Objective 6, which was in his far corner. The biggest reason I got rid of that was not because I didn't think I'd be able to get it later in the game, but when you're drawing, the more cards you draw in a Maelstrom mission, the more chances you have of drawing a card that will benefit you greatly almost immediately. So I knew I had to take rid of that card and capture as many objectives as possible, because in this mission, if you held objectives, you got to draw more cards. So that's why as well you saw me pull the beast pack into the center to hold objective 3, the witches and the succubus that disembarked from the raider, killed the warlord and the mech, and moved back to objective secure, objective 1. And in my second turn, really with that Razorwing coming in and blasting that other orc unit, I really pulled the meat and potatoes out of the force that was advancing down that flank quite heavily, while the rest of my army was able to just really consolidate their positions. So after the death blow that was dealt on turn 2, it was looking pretty grim for the orcs. And this was exacerbated by the fact that once they moved up, they fired all their weapons, and their second turn, absolutely nothing productive happened. Didn't kill a Ravager, didn't do anything. So my turn 3 was all about tying things up and really solidifying my lead in the game. Sacrificing the Eldar jet bikes to objective 5 in the top was also to prevent Jay from getting any tactical cards come turn 3. To prevent him from making objectives, my witches tied up the Morkanaut to prevent it from shooting, to give my Ravager a chance to regroup from having to jink. And from there, it was just really a complete mop-up of the opposing force. Of course, in my, the Orkz charging in and almost killing my warlord, I got really lucky and just rolled absolutely brilliant for my armor and jinx saves, and feel no pain saves. If you want to see the physical rolling, go see the battle report that Jay put up. He films his battle reports with dice rolls and while you're moving and everything live. So go check out his channel. It was an absolute blast to play against him. And I cannot wait to go back and do it again and have a rematch, as the Orkz will definitely be wanting that soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe if you really like it. I appreciate you watching. Cheers. This is Skari out.